Genesis chapter 37, hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm just going to walk with it a little bit today, hallelujah, and kind of build on where we already are, hallelujah. God had me to go into this series, talking about, can you handle what I'm dreaming, hallelujah. Can you really handle what I'm dreaming, hallelujah. And I could have preached this message. I've heard pastors preach it, the whole thing in one sermon, but God didn't want me to do that. God's saying that the book is so prophetic. It speaks to so many different angles. It speaks to where you are right now. And God wants me to slow walk this thing to a point where you begin to see yourself in the message. You begin to see what God is saying concerning your life. Amen.
Amen.
Come on, let's give God one more glory, one more praise. Hallelujah. 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 Genesis chapter 37, and I'm going to be reading from the NIV version. I'm going to start at verse 23. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to read verse 23, and then I'll come back and build a foundation where we are now. And anybody that missed last week or missed Bible study, you'll be able to catch the word. If you hear, you better catch the word, because I'll get you to the place where we are now. Amen.
Amen.
And I just need you to walk with me and pay attention. Amen. Genesis chapter 37, starting at verse 23. I'll be reading from the NIV version, and it reads, So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the richly ornamented robe he was wearing, and they took him and threw him in the cistern. Now the cistern was empty, and there was no water in it. In other words, they threw him in a well. And as they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels was loaded with spices, balm, myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. Verse 26. Judah said to his brothers, What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed, verse 28. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. And I just want to stop right there. I read Genesis chapter 37, verse 23 through 28. We're still in the series of Can You Handle What I'm Dreaming? Hallelujah. Can you handle what I'm dreaming? But what God wants to do, we're going to use for a topic on today, pulled out to be sold out. Amen. Pulled out to be sold out. Amen. We still in the topic of Can You Handle What I'm Dreaming? Hallelujah. And we begin to pick up the word here. Here's Joseph. He's in a place now where the father finds favor in him. And his father loves Joseph more than he loves any other children. And what the father begins to do, the father said, because I love him, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a robe for him. And I'm going to put all kind of ornaments, I'm going to put all kind of colors on this particular robe. And when Joseph begins to wear this robe is just a gift of my appreciation. It's a gift to show him how much I love him. And the father loves him so much, but the gift that the father begins to put on him begins to cause his other brothers to hate him. And what God is saying on today, that some of the gifts and some of the talents that you have on the inside, it's going to cause folks to hate you. It may cause family to hate you. It may cause friends to hate you. But Joseph, he's in a place, he's 17 years old, and he's got this new coat. The only thing he knows, my daddy bought me a new coat, I'm wearing this coat. And the Bible begins to talk about when his brothers see the coat and they understand that the father loves them so much, they don't have a kind word for him. In other words, they can't say anything nice to him because they see how the father loves him. It's not that he's done anything. It's not that he's arrogant. It's not that he talked about them. It's not that he doesn't love them. It's just because the father loves them. Hallelujah. And sometimes you can be in a place where you favor the God and you hate it on him. And sometimes we upset and we think we're in the wrong place, but God said you can be in a place of our favor, and it can just be that you want to be accepted by others, and you don't understand why folks coming up against you, but it can just be the favor. It can be the way you dress, the way you do your hair, the clothes you wear, come on, the car that you have. It can just be the way that just you being you can cause folks not to like you. So Joseph, he's in a place where all he's doing is being Joseph. Just tell your neighbor, just be you. Just be you. Be you. Be you. Be you. Be you. Be you. You're going to have to be able to stand, hallelujah, being you. And sometimes when we are ourselves, it's not that we're trying to be arrogant, it's not that we're trying to be out of character, but just being us at times is going to cause problems. But you have to be able to stand in the midst of the storm when you know that you hadn't done anything, but it's only the favor of God that's on your life. So here, I'm trying to help somebody to stand, because what we do, we try to fit into folks, and we keep asking, what have I done to you? What have I done to offend you? What have I done? What have I done? And the only thing you've done will just be who God called you to be. And we can't live our lives trying to fit into a box, trying to get accepted for somebody else, trying to get somebody to spend time with us, trying to get somebody to love us like we deserve to be loved. But God is saying that I need you just to be who I called you to be. If you be who I called you to be, I can begin to use you. So here's Joseph. He's 17 years old. The fathers put a coat on him. And some folks, when you deal with rejection, it's not just in your adulthood that you was dealing with rejection. It was time when you was a child that you were dealing with rejection, but you didn't understand. The most people that are rejected the most time, these are the most gifted people. But it's only that the enemy's got an assignment that he wants to push you out of your purpose with God. He wants you to get you in a place where you don't want to socialize with folks, with a place where you're not outgoing, you're introvert. So your gifts will never come to the surface. So here's Joseph. He's at a place. He's got a coat. He's gifted. He's young. He's 17. And when you look at the number 17, the number 17 represents childish, naive. The number 17 represents incomplete, underdeveloped. So he's in a place where he's underdeveloped. He's 17 years old. He's younger. In other words, he can't walk in the full capacity of what God wants. God still needs to complete some things in him. But it's not that he's a bad person. He's just young in what God wants to do in his life. But he's young and gifted. Anybody ever known someone like that? And when we have people that's young and gifted, they need guidance. And that's what our children, they're young and they're gifted, but they need information, they need instruction. They're young and they're gifted. So here's Joseph. He's at a place where he's young and he's gifted, and instead of his brothers embracing him, he began to have a dream. He said, I got a dream now. In other words, God put something inside of me. I don't understand with it. He's just talking and he's telling them what his dream is. He said, I have a dream, and in my dream I began to see that we was in the field and we was feeding, in other words, we was feeding the sheep, and my sheep began to get up and he stands upright. I'm trying to catch you to the point where we at now. The sheep stands upright. And that sheep begins to bow down to kids. So his brother understands, they understand the interpretation of the dream, and they begin to say, what is it? Are you supposed to rule over us? In other words, they understand that he's gifted. They understand that God is going to do something in their life. And they understand that he doesn't know it now. He's 17, he's undeveloped, he doesn't understand where he's going. But I got a glimpse of where he's going. I see how the Father begins to favor him. I see how he carries himself. I see how he's assured of himself. And if he believes it long enough, God will bring it to pass. But he doesn't understand what he's dreaming. Can I help some of you? Some of you got dreams, some of you got gifts, some of you got desires, but you don't understand what you're carrying. You don't understand what God put in you. You don't understand why you're not failing. You don't understand why you keep pressing. You don't understand why you keep rising to the top. You don't understand that, but it's the favor of God that's on you. And folks see that, they understand that, but you don't understand that. You were just being nice, but they see you going through doors. They see you being elevated. They see you being promoted. And what they do, they say, we got to stop this dreamer. Can I help you? Most times that the dreamers, you're the most gifted people. You're the people that God really want to use. The people that's been rejected. The people that's been through stuff. The people that's been molested. The people that's been called out of their name. The people that's been counted out. You're the people that God wants to use. You're the dreamer. You're the one that you got a word. The only thing you got is a word. Everybody trying to talk about you, but you got a word. Hallelujah. 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 We begin to look at the word here. Here's Joseph. He's 17 years old. And he said, I got the dream. Something is stirring inside of me. And I don't understand what God is doing now. Something is stirring in me. God's bringing me to a place. He woke me up in a dream. And brothers, I just want to tell you what God showed me in my dream. I just want to tell you what's happening to me. And sometimes we in a place and we want to tell somebody what God is doing. But as soon as we tell them what God is saying that when I tell their brothers the dream, they begin to hate me more. They was already hating me because of my coat, but now I got a dream. Now I got purpose. Now God want to do something with me, and now they hating on me. Can I help you? You got purpose on your life. That's why the enemy want to stop you. God got a plan for you. That's why people want to talk about you. That's why they want to accept you. But God is waiting on you to accept yourself. God is waiting on you to be okay when you're by yourself. God is waiting on you to step past the rejection. So he shows up. He's in a place. He tells his brother, look, I had another dream now. And in this next dream, the moon and the stars, they bow down to me. The moon and the sun and the 11 stars, they begin to bow down to me. And I don't know what God is doing. I'm just telling you what God is showing me. I don't understand where I'm going, but I'm just telling you what God is showing me. And because you're my brothers, I should be able to come to you. I should be able to talk to you. And let me share with you what God wants to do. Hallelujah. So he tells them about this dream.
Come on.
And what they do this time, they go and they tell the father, you know, he's dreaming now. And the father said, what is it that me and your mother supposed to bow down to you?
Come on.
What is it? But the father understands the dream. The father understands that this boy is special. But the father didn't hold it against him. He's just talking. He's just young. God is showing him some things that God is going to bring to pass. So what God wants you to do is stay with him long enough that he can begin to mature you. He can begin to perfect you. And I know you're incomplete now. I know you're not ready now. I know you're immature now. But God said, I want to mature you in the spiritual things. I want to get you to a place where the thing that I'll wake you up in the middle of the night, I can begin to bring you to another place. God said, that's what I want to do to you. Hallelujah. I'm not going to bring you to pass in this season, but I'm trying to get you to dream big. I'm trying to get you to see big. I'm trying to get you to go places that your family never would go. Hallelujah. That's what God has put in you. Hallelujah. You're the only one in your family that think like that. You're the only one that want to go places that God want to go. You're the only one that's thinking about purpose. God said, I want to use you now. I want to perfect you. I want to get you to learn me in such a way that you won't be worried about the rejection. You won't be worried about when folks don't believe in you. God said, I want you just to ride with me long enough that you'll have a personal relationship with me. Hallelujah. So the brothers see him coming off a distance, and the brothers see the coat. And when they begin to see the coat, they say, here comes the dreamer. Here comes the expert. I told y'all that the Hebrew word for dreamer that they was using was dream expert. He's the master dreamer. In other words, they've been making folks making fun of the gifts that God have on the inside of you. So they see him and they laughing about what God told you. Folks don't begin to laugh when you tell them God told you to do this. Folks don't begin to laugh when you say, I'm stepping out in faith and I'm believing God for this. Folks don't begin to laugh at you. So they're laughing at Joseph now. They say, here comes this boy that's dreaming. And I see him coming. And what we're going to do is let's kill him. Because he's dreaming. And if we don't kill him, I believe his dream going to come to pass. I believe the brothers believe that the dream was going to come to pass, because they began to say, let's kill him and see what becomes of his dream. In other words, let's stop you, hallelujah, and see if you still going to do your business. Let's still talk about you and see if you still going to walk in purpose. Let's reject you when they give you prophetic word, but I know it was right, hallelujah, and see if you'll still keep prophesying. So they said, let's stop him in his purpose, and let's throw him down in this well. So here's Joseph. He's coming. He's looking at his brothers. He don't have his guard up. In other words, he's in a place where his guard is not up now. Because you should be safe around family. And there was times that you were safe around family. You didn't have your guard up. And they said little comments to hurt you. They said things to hurt your feelings. They said things that make you not want to go to the family reunion anymore. They said things that make you not want to come around anymore. Because your guard was down in a place. You should have been in a safe place, but here they've been plotting to get you. So he's on his way. He gets closer, and he gets closer to his brothers. And his brothers, they begin to grab him. They begin to strip him, the coat off of him. And they're thinking that we strip him down. And what God began to say, he said, I allow the enemy to strip you so he can see that my hand is still on you, that he can't pull off what I put on. And they begin to strip the coat off of him. And then they begin to throw him in the well. And when the water wasn't in the well, when they threw him in the well, they wanted to kill him. And it's time that the enemy wanted to kill you, but God wouldn't allow him to kill you.
Yes, thank you, Lord.
Hallelujah. And sometimes we find ourselves in certain places and we saying, God, how did we get to this place? God, how did I get here? Hallelujah. God, I didn't deserve this, God. Only thing I want to do is serve you. God, I don't bother nobody. I don't talk about nobody. God, I'm not trying to mistreat nobody, God. But every time I get around folks, they keep talking about me. They keep talking about my dream. They keep talking about what you told me to do, because I'm not like everybody. I'm different. They begin to make fun of the thing that's different. So here the brother, they cast him down. They throw him down in the well, and they begin to plot, they begin to plan. But God is just telling me to tell you that even when the enemy thinks he's mishandling you, and the enemy thinks he got control on you, God begin to show that even they cast you down in the well, and you might be in a low place now, but God said, I'm still with you. Hallelujah. I'll be with you in the valley. I'll be with you in the mountain. God said, you might be cast down now, but I'm still talking to you. Can I tell somebody that you ever been going through, but God is still saying you're going to make it? God's still saying, come on, we've may endure for a night, but joy is coming in the morning. And you might be cast down in the well. Now, there might have been family, it might have been friends, it might have been loved ones that put you in the well. But God said, I still got you. Hallelujah. So they end up placing these thrown down in the well. And they talking about, we want to kill him. Hallelujah. And the enemy sometimes think that they can mishandle you. They think that they got you where they want you. Hallelujah. But even in the midst of what he's going through, it looks like he's not in the timing of God. It looks like he's in a bad situation. It looks like God's not going to deliver him. It looks like he's not going to come out. But in the midst of what they're going through, and they begin to eat, they're sitting around by a meal. Hallelujah. God causes this caravan to come by. Hallelujah. God calls folks to begin to come by. Hallelujah. Out of the blue. Hallelujah. That's going to be your transportation to your next place. You don't understand. Sometimes you might be in the well now. Hallelujah. But God, that can be the hiding place that God has you in till he get ready to transition you. And when you get in a transitional place, you're not going to have friends. You're not going to have family. Hallelujah. You're going to be in a place where it looks like you're all alone, that you cast down in the well. Hallelujah. But you can be in the right place at the right time that God want to speak to you. He want to give you revelation. Hallelujah. Could you imagine how Joseph felt? I'm going here to check on my brothers, hallelujah. But they set me up, they took the coat off me, they threw me in the well now. And if you just imagine this in your regular mind, I'm not talking about being saved, sanctified, just a regular person. Don't you know the enemy will come to you and say, your daddy must have had something to do with it. Because your daddy sent you out here to check on them, and now that I threw you in the well. Because see, the enemy will come in, he'll tell you stuff, and you'll be like, you know what, I don't know what's going on. Maybe they set me up, hallelujah. Because all my brothers done turned on me. They talk about killing me. And the only reason I'm out here is daddy told me to check. I'm just telling you how I would have thought. I would have backtracked. How did I get here? God, how did I get here? How did I get to this place? Oh, maybe daddy in with it too. I didn't know that. Could you imagine not knowing your family felt that way? Not knowing your friends felt that way? But they waited for an opportunity that you was vulnerable. And they cast you down in the well. So here's Joseph. He's at this place and his brothers look up. They don't know why they're looking up. But God caused them to see this caravan. Hallelujah. They in the timing of God. They in the timing that the caravan is coming through. And they look up and they see these people coming. They're talking about killing somebody. But they look up and God had the caravan coming along just like that time. And they said, Judah began to say, you know what? We should kill him. In other words, he worked something. Hallelujah. That's why the enemy couldn't kill you. Because there's value on your life. There's value on the anointing. There's value on the things that you've been through. That you've been experiencing. That's why you didn't die. You thought you was going to die. But that's why you didn't die. Because God said there's value to you. Hallelujah. So they look it up and here comes the caravan. Judah began to say, you know what, we sell him, we'll get some money. He's worth something. We got to sell him. We got to sell him. We got to sell him. He's worth something. He's worth something. So they begin to, they get the caravan. They stop these folks. They said, we're going to sell this man right here to you. So they give him 20 shekels, and now he's on his way to Egypt. His brothers pulled him out of the well and sold him to Egypt. And God said that some of you, the reason why you're so depressed is because it looked like someone pulled you out of one relationship. And the person you thought that will trust you, the person that you told all about your past relationship, the person that you gave information to. Those are the one that sold you out. Hallelujah. Your co-worker is the one that sold you out. Your best friend is the one that sold you out. It looked like they were pulling you out, but when they pull you out, they sold you into something else. Hallelujah. Have you ever been in a place where you say, I got out of this, but now I'm dealing with that? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Now I got a whole other animal to deal with. Hallelujah. I got a whole other thing, hallelujah, to deal with. Hallelujah. And what God began to show me, he said, family was beginning to turn on Joseph, but he didn't understand why family was turning on him. And then sometimes you're not going to understand that family's turning on you, but God will cause folks to turn on you so you can get in purpose. Because you never would have moved if those folks wouldn't have turned on you. You never would have left if they wouldn't have talked about you. You never would have left if they wouldn't have rejected you. So God will cause folks to mishandle you. I'm not saying he'll cause folks to do it, but to get you in purpose, some things he'll allow folks to do. Hallelujah. So here's Joseph. He never would have gone to Egypt if God would have just told him. Hallelujah. Because his father loved him so much, his brothers loved him so much. So God takes their hate and position him to get to Egypt. Come on. So here's Joseph. He sold out. Could you imagine going and being sold into slavery? And it was your brothers that did it. All the while not knowing whether your father set up to. Hallelujah. And what God began to say that his dream was too big for them to handle. Hallelujah. And some relationships, hallelujah, God will cause folks to mishandle you. I'm just telling you, the only way you'll get out some relationship is they got to act a fool. They got to act a certain kind of way. Because you allow so much stuff to go on, hallelujah, that you will never get in purpose. And God said the dream on the inside of you is so great and so large that they couldn't handle what he was about to walk into. They couldn't handle your purpose. They couldn't handle you in the future. And they upset with you right now, and you just got a little bit. You saying this ain't nothing. I'm believing God for greater. I believe God is about to do something else. I believe God is about to bring you to another place. And you hate on this. This ain't nothing to hate on. Hallelujah. And what my assignment is with this word, I came to wake up some dreamers. God want to wake up somebody that dreams. Hallelujah. Because you've been lying dormant too long. And as I begin to minister these words, hallelujah, starting from the first sermon, you're going to begin to start dreaming. And God showed me that it already started happening. That folks in here already start dreaming again. And God said, I'm about to dream. You're about to dream again because the gift that I have on the inside of you, I'm trying to get it to the earth. I'm trying to get it in operation. Because you got the gift, you got the dream, and this is a prophetic dream that God said, I'm trying to birth, I'm trying to wake it up, and I'm trying to wake somebody up that gave up on your purpose, that gave up on God, that gave up that he's able to do it. I came to wake you up on today, to let you know that you were dreaming too big. Come on for your inner circle. That's why God had to move you, and don't downsize your dream, don't downsize your goal to make somebody else happy. God said, keep dreaming big. I'm about to bring you into the new place. Hallelujah. And what God began to show me is that sometimes the people that we love are the ones that really want to kill us. And God will use dreams and he'll begin to communicate something to us. I remember one of my frat brothers, he was in this relationship with this young lady. And at first they were going to get married. And he decided they weren't going to get married. So he's like, we just staying together, we just friends now. And I'm like, dude, you can't go from about to marry somebody to staying with them as roommates. I'm like, that's not going to work. She going to have a fool. So I just fixed it. I'm not telling you I'm in purpose. I'm just telling you what the Lord has shown me. I'm not knowing I'm prophesying every step of what he's going because I'm not in it. But the gift is still working. I'm like, you need to get out of the house. You need to leave that relationship alone. God is not. She's not going to work. She's going to start acting up. I said, you think you're going to be able to bring, you paying the rent there. You're not going to be able to bring, you can't date nobody else. Because you can't bring company over. Because you know she's going to act a fool when you bring company over or whatever. I'm like, you need to get out, you need to get your place. But he was real cheap. He used to love and try to stack money. Man, I can stay here, let her pay half the rent, I can build my bank account up. I'm like, you need to get out. Me and another woman from Frat was telling me, like, no price tag on peace. Can't pay for your peace, you need to get out. He won't listen, he just laughing. Oh, you crazy, I said, man, that girl is going to hurt you, man. I'm telling you, I see it. That girl is going to hurt you. Oh, you crazy, oh, you just crazy. You wouldn't believe nothing I said. So we went down there one weekend, hanging out, me, him, another one of my frat brothers. So we went to left Statesboro, went to Savannah. We was hanging out or whatever. I will tell you, from Statesboro to Savannah, that girl probably called his phone 30 times. I'm like, dude, just go back to the house. Let's leave you at the house, and we'll go by ourselves, because that's crazy right there. So, but let me tell you this is how crazy it was. Before we got ready to go, so he waited and said, should I call you 30 times? And I'm like, look, your phone steady blowing up, steady blowing up. I'm like, man, you might just can't go this weekend, Lord. So he began to tell us, he said, when I was showering, getting ready, she jumped in the shower, full clothes on, everything. I said, that should tell you she crazy right there. Anybody that jump in the shower while you in the shower with their full clothes on, that's crazy. Yes, sir. I'm like, man, you might just can't go out this. I'm telling you, this look a little crazy. Yeah. So we go party this time. We have a good time. Good time. This phone steady blowing up. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Steady blowing up. So we get back. She just nutting up. They arguing all night long. All this crazy stuff. So I'm like, man, look here. I said, man, you need to get out here. He's like, man, I can't afford to move now. So because we all help each other out. It don't matter what happened. When I was down, they helped me. And so my other frat brother was in town, Tim. He's from New York or whatever. So we always knew each other. He was just happened to be in town at the same time. We like, look, we're going to buy you a U-Haul, because he already had other friends. I don't care what it costs. We here this weekend. We're going to buy a U-Haul. I said, I didn't come down here to help nobody move, but we'll get you out of here tonight. He don't want to, he's like, man, y'all crazy, she ain't going to do that. She just act up. I'm like, man, you need to get out of here. So he's finally, we convinced him he needs to move. But in the process of us getting ready to move him out, his grandma calls him first thing in the morning. His grandma said, baby, you all right? His grandma lived in Augusta. Baby, you all right? He said, yeah, I'm all right. He said, you sure you all right? He said, yeah. He said, because I had a dream that you was in a dangerous place. And danger was all right. I don't know what was happening. I don't know what was going on. But I just sensed, danger all right. You sure you all right? Yeah, grandma, I'm all right. At this time, he was thinking everything all right. So we get in a place. We start moving the clothes. We start moving all the furniture, moving it out, moving the bed out. We move the bed, pull the mattress up, box spring, all this stuff. Under the head of the bed, she got this big butcher knife under the bed. And I said, see? That's what grandma saw right there. That's what grandma saw right there. I said, see, you thought I was crazy when he kept saying, I said, you thought I was crazy or whatever. So we moving the stuff out. She comes in. It's like a wicked west. She comes in, everybody quiet. I'm like, let's get these mattresses, these box springs, these pots and pans. Let's get out of here, but we don't have to call the police for us all over it. So she comes in the house. She going all off, talking all this, arguing with him, saying all this, all kind of crazy. She going in on me and my frat brother, whatever. And then she just says, that's why I should have stabbed you when I thought about it. I said, beep. Crazy. I said, see, I didn't say it, she said it. The enemy she already thought about it in her mind. And the knife wasn't enough. Grandma called it enough. But she said out her mouth, that would have been enough right there. And we got him out. That was the only thing that caused him to move. And I'm trying to help you. Some of you dreaming, and God is giving you information about folks to get them to the next place that's going to keep them safe. So he's in a place where he won't listen to nobody. But when he saw that big knife, we got out of there, and they started sitting in. But we said, she was going to kill you, bro. She was going to kill you. And see, that thing would have bothered me or whatever. If something would have happened to him, because I told him over and over and over again, he would not listen. If something would have happened to him, I would have been hurt by that thing. But I'm just telling you that God can use dreams to begin to help you. God can use dreams to begin to move you to a place of safety. And some of us don't want to move. Some of us don't want to leave. But God is trying to communicate to us. He's pulling us out of one place. And it looked like we get sold out. But we can be in the very will of God. Come on, yes. So here's Joseph. He's at a place now where he's been sold out. He's in Egypt, and God positions him to this man's house named Potiphar. And this is a familiar story, but I'm trying to help somebody to find yourself in this familiar story. If you begin to turn to Genesis chapter 39. Could we be moving to Genesis chapter 39 now? In Genesis chapter 39 and verse 2, they begin to talk about how the Lord was with Joseph and everything. I'm paraphrasing now. They begin to talk about how the Lord was with Joseph and everything he did. And they begin to talk about how that God was causing him to prosper. That even though he was in Egypt, God was causing him to prosper. And what God has begun to show me that even though you could be in a place that you don't desire to be in, but God said your gift can still work in captivity. You can be in a place where the enemy think he got you sized up, but God can still use you. You can be in a job where they don't want to give you the title, but God give you the favor, he give you the authority, and God begin to show that God was with him, and he prospered in everything he did. And we keep waiting on the saved folks to understand our calling, and here comes a person with Potiphar. His name means belonging to the Son. Not the Son of God, the S-U-N, Son, means that they worship idol gods. So his name means belonging to the Son. They didn't believe in the same God. But when he began to see how God was working favor in Joseph's life, he began to say everything Joseph touched began to prosper. Everything he began to do began to work out. And if I understand, if I want to be blessed, I got to put Joseph in charge of everything I do. What I'm about to do, I'm about to make Joseph, in other words, I'm about to make him manager of everything in my household. Because I see he prosper. And what God said is some folks we look at and open the door for us, they're not going to open the door. It's going to be the people that in your worst day, you would have thought would have opened the door. They're going to recognize the anointing on your life. They might just be using you for your gift. But God said your gift is going to make room and bring you before great men. That's what the word says. Gift that's keeping him in the house. It's his gift that God is trying to get positioned. Hallelujah. God is positioning people in corporate America. He's positioning people in the banks. He's positioning people, through elections. He's positioning his people in places that folks, they don't understand why I like this person, but they're just able to get it done. And see, some managers, they want folks that when I give them an assignment, I don't have to get it back. They ain't going to make me look bad. I give it to them, and it's going to look like what it's supposed to look like. When I stand before people, it's going to look like what it's supposed to look like. So here's Joseph. He's in a place, and God is still prospering him. Can I help somebody right here? See, some of us could have been so bitter because we didn't do nothing to get to this place. We've been stripped down. We've been thrown in the well. We've been sold out by our brothers. So by the time we get the Potiphar house, we would have been so much in rejection, we wouldn't even open up our mouth. He wouldn't even know the gift that was inside of us. We would have been in rejection so bad, depression so bad. And what God said is the things you go through, you can't let that stop you from my gift coming through. If you would have been in a place like, I know how to do that. I ain't going to open my mouth. God, I'm upset. I should have been back at Daddy's house eating right now. Brother done sold me out just because of coke he done made. I don't know whether he set me up, all them set me up. They done sold me out for 20 shekels. Yeah, I know how to do that. I know that look wrong. I ain't about to even open my mouth. I know that about to fall out. I know not doing that right. I know their math off. I ain't gonna let them know what I can do. Because I'm upset and I'm bitter. And that's what God don't want us to be. Some of us upset and bitter, and God can't use us. And God wants us to be in a place that no matter what you go through, I'm not saying you're not going to be upset. I'm not saying you're not going to be in a place where you don't want to slap somebody in the mouth. I'm not saying that at all. But that shouldn't be your testimony. That shouldn't be how you look. He come Dad Charles. He always upset. We was at this thing yesterday. This man, he was upset. I'm not part of the organization at all. I'm just part of the car. I'm not part of the organization at all. I just was there with the youth, trying to help get the radio to work. I'm just trying to make sure their music's straight. I'm not here to be the sound man. I don't mind being it now, don't get me wrong. And and I end up having to work some of the stuff. I don't mind being that. But the man started asking me, are you going to be here all the whole time? And my daughter got to sing, and we got the CD, and we need this right here working. I'm like, sir, I don't know, we'll be here all day. I can tell you, if she's going for them, then I probably can help y'all shortly after that. Because the lady at first, she was telling us that it was another program after, it was going to be a little while after. I'm like, I don't know, I'm going to be here all day now, you know. So he's like, oh, you ain't going to be here all day, you ain't going to be here. I'm like, but here go the radio, okay, just play the radio. Put the CD in, put the microphone to the radio. So he all kind of upset or whatever. And even after the sound got work, we was there all day. Even after everything was over with, he still was a little angry. His daughter won, our granddaughter won, whoever you want to win, they won. They got the scholarship, they got the money. Why are you still kind of like, I was like, yeah, everything worked out, his daughter was good. He's like, yeah, I thought you wasn't going to be here. I said, I thought I wasn't going to. I told him again, I thought I wasn't going to be here either. But they told me to go back to the end. I said, well, I was here, so I helped or whatever. I said, but everything worked out. I just pat on the shoulder. Everything worked out good. Because I don't have time for that. You know what are we really arguing? We're talking about now. He's still bitter. You got victory and you're bitter. Yes. While we're still upset, sometimes we're still talking about stuff. And have you ever been in a place where you didn't really fight somebody, but they tried you? Yes. And you all like, oh, I can't believe they tried me like this. And I'm trying. The next time I see them, y'all ain't fought, they tried you. Yeah. They didn't put everybody said something about the word, but they tried you. So we go through a whole rant and pace to the floor, what I'm going to do because they tried you. And that could have been time you could have been enjoying your family, enjoying the movie. But we pace the floor because somebody tried me. When I go back to school and I see that it's Friday, but you're going to be upset till Monday, till you get to school, till you get it straight, because they tried you. Your co-worker tried you at 5 o'clock on Friday. You ain't going to be satisfied till you catch him up in that bathroom. You're going to be sitting there waiting. Or you're going to the bathroom now. Let me talk to you about Friday. Because what you said Friday, you upset me on Friday. And you just as mad Monday as you was on Friday. Nothing changed. You can be in a place where you can be bitter and you can be missing the opportunity God want to do. And you can be pulled out of a place, sold out, but you can still be the very place that God want to use you. The Bible said that Joseph prospered every place he went. So Potiphar sees him. He begins to say, you know what? I'm gonna put you over everything in my house. So in other words, I see God in you, and I'm gonna put you over everything because I want the blessings that's on your life to be on my household. And some people, the only reason why they keep talking to you, nothing wrong with it, but every time you show up, they feel peace. The peace of God is on you. So when their life is in so much turmoil, but every time they sit with you, they may not even be talking about their problems, but peace just show up, healing and understanding. When they talk to you, they begin to feel that it's going to be okay. They begin to feel that God's going to make a way. They begin to feel that they're going to come out. They just show anointing that does it. So Potiphar begins to understand the anointing of God. I'm trying to help somebody because we want church folk to understand our anointing, and sometimes it's going to be the unbeliever. Sometimes it's going to be the crackhead. Come on, that's going to bless you. It's going to be the person that's addicted that's going to bless you. And I can give you testimony. We go out there and pray for folks. It's people that's addicted. They'll begin to give us money. And I'm not saying that about money. I'm just saying, but they see the God in us. Yeah. Amen. And that's all you want. You want people to see God in you. Not your experiences. You give them your testimony when the Holy Ghost allows you to do it, but you don't want everybody to just walk around and say, hey, that girl, she's depressed every day. She's slow every day. Can God get glory out of your life? See, Joseph could have been so bitter that God couldn't use him. Could it be God not using you because you're still upset about something somebody did to you when you was 12, 13, 8, and now you 54? Upset about 41 years. Come on, I'm not trying to minimize what you went through, but you got to kill that demon and you got to bury him today. Because you can be bitter and it can look like you're not in the right place at the right time, but God can be setting it up for your gift to work. And some of us can't be used because we're still bitter. So I'm gonna give you right where Joseph at, and I'm going to stop here a little bit from there. Joseph, he's at a place at Potiphar's house. Potiphar said, I got you over everything except my wife. That's the only thing you can't touch. You can eat what you want. So in other words, in these days, people like, you can drive all my cars, wear my nice suits, wear my Jordans, wear my watch, wear my jewelry. You can do all of that. Swim in my pool, eat my steaks. Just don't touch my wife. Just don't touch my wife. So the Bible said that Joseph was well built. In other words, he was handsome. He probably had a six-pack, probably had nice hair. You know what I'm saying? Probably looking good. You know what I'm saying? He got new robes, well shaped. You know, he's at Potiphar's house. He's got influence because he's the captain of Pharaoh's guard. So he's got influence. So in other words, you got the best barbers doing your hair. If you need to put a little beijing on it, if you need a red tape, whatever you need, you got the finest of the fine. You got the best quilts. You got the nice shoes. So when he's stepping throughout the house, he ain't just looking regular. He looking good. So Joseph, he's walking around, he's looking good. Potiphar's wife see him, and she start pushing up on him. Joseph, ooh, Joseph, ooh. Something about Joseph, woo, Joseph. She tells Joseph, come on, lay with me, Joseph, come on. He ain't gonna know. Joseph began to say, not that Joseph didn't want to do it, Joseph began to say, look, your husband put me over everything. He put me over everything except you. I'm not over you. He didn't want me to touch you. And I can't sin against God. For me to touch you, I'm going to be sinning against God. Amen. Amen. Can I use, that's the first way better. Can I use the wireless? Can I use y'all for just a quick minute? It won't look crazy. You know? Just kind of come on a little bit. Just kind of get close. Not like that. Don't hug on them, but just say if you saw them and you wanted them, and you know, how would you kind of position yourself real close and use? I'm getting in the character. What would you do off of distance to let them know? You know, Joseph, you're looking good, Joseph. We here all by ourselves, my boy. What would you say to him? So she's coming close, she's pushing up on him a little bit. But Joseph is saying, you know what? Your husband, I know his position. Not that I don't want you, not that you don't look good now. But I'm not supposed to go here. And what God is saying, and this is going to help some of y'all. If you don't have the power to walk away from some stuff, you're not going to go in the door. Because some things you're going to want to do, until you're able to walk away from something that you want to do, and let God get the glory, you're not ready to go into the next door. You're not ready to go to the next door. Because see, your desire is going to be even greater. So God is not going to put you over something even greater. So here's Joseph. He's at a place where he's at Potiphar's house. In other words, he got some pull, he looking good or whatever. He back, seems like he back on the block. Seems like he already, he already like he made it, like he George Jefferson, you know. What is it? Started from the bottom, but we're here. So he started all the way from the bottom, he in the well. But here now, he at Potiphar's house. Looking good. He got his swag on, got good clothes. He looking good now, right? So she wanted him. He turned down so many times to get to a place where, and you know how when you turn folks down, they want you even more. Because they want what they can't have. Yeah. So press up on it a little harder. She done pressed up on Joseph so hard. Joseph said, you know, the only way I'm going to be able to stop this is I got to run out. And what God said, we got to learn how to teach. God had to teach you this. You got to learn how to run away from some stuff. Some stuff you ain't got to be all holy. You ain't got to be all sanctified. No, I can't come over there in the middle of the night because I don't know what I might do. I ain't so powerful. I don't know what I might do. I know what you're going to do, but I don't know what I might do. So for me to stay where I need to be, I need to stay away. So the only thing what Joseph said, I got to get out of here. So he runs out of here and tears her robe. Tears his robe. So she's sitting there with his robe. So she's so upset that Joe didn't want her. Joe turned it down. Who is Joe? to turn me down. You know who I am? Do you know my status? Now, can you give them a hand clap? They did it. So Joseph, he turns her down, he runs out, she got his clothes. She said, so what's she gonna tell her husband now? Because it's gonna look crazy if he go back and say, man, you know, your wife is kind of pushing up on me, man. I don't know what it is. So she tells her husband that this Hebrew you had, he tried to, the Bible said, try to make sport with me. My granddaddy used to say that. Yeah. He used to think with dead girls, like, you sporting now. I'm like, what are you talking about, granddaddy? Oh, you sporting now? I'm like, I don't know what that means. That's my dad. What are you talking about? He said, oh, he's talking about you dating a little girl. I said, okay. So now he said that I know what he's talking about or whatever. So the Bible begins to talk about he came to make sport with her. That's what she tell her husband. So Joseph Potiphar gets so upset. And he said, you know what I'm going to do with Joseph? I'm going to throw him in the dungeon. I'm going to throw him in prison. And he was from one place. It's like he's going from one bad place. He's going from the well. He's going to Egypt. It looks like things going to work out for him, even though he's not where he used to be or whatever. And now he's in prison. And the only reason why he's there is because he had a dream that was bigger than him. And I'm going to close right here. We'll stop right here and we'll keep building. So because Joseph is in a place where he can be bitter again. He didn't do nothing. He refused it. Have you ever been in a place where you've done the right thing and folks still upset with you? You did the right thing. I see this happen a lot of times. Folks say, oh, your boyfriend is cheating on you or whatever. Now, I don't get in people's business like that anyway, because they'll turn around still be with them. And they'll be upset with you. That's been both of them upset with you now. Or don't bring it, because first thing with the man, even though the man might know he was doing something. Don't bring that girl to my house. She can't come to the house no more. You can't hang out with her no more. And the person said me like, I did the right thing I told him. But now you'll have no friends. So here's Joseph, he didn't do anything. His gift has made room. Now he rejected Potiphar's wife. And some of us would have been thinking, I should have just slept with her. I would have been all right. I would have had a nice clothes out in jail. But he said, I don't want to sin against God. And sometimes you got to understand where you're going is so valuable that you can't take everything that want to press up on you.
Come on.
The enemy going to send some stuff that want to press up on you. It's going to look good. It's going to look like you want it. But that's not the door God wants you to go through. And sometimes your character is more than pressing up on something.
That's right.
See, that quick thrill, it might well have been good to him, but he had to deal with God, you know, my relationship with God. God didn't want me to do that. And I'm not saying this, all of us have made mistakes, but we're free now. But I just want to put you at a place where Joseph is. He's at a place where he's got a dream, he's young, he's in prison, he's gifted. Everything he do, can you get up there? Some of the most gifted people go through all the depression, they go through all the rejection because you're so gifted. He's in a place where he's so gifted that he's saying, oh God, I'm in prison now. And he could be bitter. What is it that you've been through that God want to get glory out of? He's just waiting on you to walk in forgiveness. That he really can get glory. Because until you forgive, you can't give the testimony. Because every time you tell it, you're going to be angry. Every time you talk about it, it's going to stir up just like it's living in you again. And what God wants to do, He want to get that out of you. He want to get the experience out of you that you can walk in power. And you got to understand, when you look at this word, and go back and read it, every place Joseph went, he was covered. And what I'm trying to help the people of God understand, it doesn't matter where you find yourself, God still has His hand on you. And you can't move because of certain stuff. He was in the well, they wanted to kill him. God sent an opportunity for them not to kill him. He was stripped down in a coat which looked like his favor. But the favor was still on. It wasn't in the coat. It couldn't kill him because it was still value in his life. And see, some of the stuff you went through, it's not that God wasn't with you. God